All right, welcome back to another lesson. So what we're going to be looking at right now is Investigation 2.3, Comparing Costs. So just a little bit of terminology. In the last lesson, we spent some time talking about Henry and Emile and the race they made, and then we also just talked about how you can tell that a graph is going to end up being a straight line by looking at the table. Does it go up by a constant amount or down by a constant amount each time? Looking at an equation, am I multiplying my letter by the same number over and over again? And then obviously, if it's a linear equation, a linear graph, we will end up having a straight line. So get out those notes. A few terms we need to talk about here. The first term is the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is the point where any line that we graph crosses the y-axis. Y-axis, sorry about that. It's also considered the spot when x is equal to 0. So we're looking for, in this graph that I have over here, the thing that we are looking at, how can I show us here, is right here. This is where my graph crosses this y-axis. So in this case, depending on what we're counting by, if I'm counting by 10s, 10, 20, 30, it touches the y-axis at 30. Now we also spent some time talking about how that has a meaning, and that meaning that it has depends on what the situation is. In the race between Emile and Henry, the meaning behind the y-intercept was how far each of the people had gone at 0 seconds of the race. So in other words, we figured out that Henry had a 45-meter head start. In some of the other situations we've looked at, our y-axis might have been in the situation of the students collecting some sponsorship pledges that people made for them to walk. The point where it crossed the y-axis, that was how much money the students were given for walking 0 kilometers. Okay, so it's always what is happening for 0 of whatever is on our x-axis, which is the horizontal axis. All right, coefficient is a little bit of a new term here. The coefficient is known as the number that we multiply our variable by in our equation. We have been referring to that coefficient as the rate. In math classes, especially in science classes, you'll, instead of referring to it as a coefficient, you will often hear it as rate. As we continue to move into this unit, we'll also learn to call it by one more name. That name is the slope. And that's something we'll be getting into a little bit further down as we finish up Investigation 2 and move into Investigation 4. Our final term here that you need to make note of is solution of an equation. A solution of an equation is an ordered pair that makes the equation true. For example, in the last lesson, one of the questions was asked, did either one of the boys' graphs cross at 2670? Well, we figured out that after 26 seconds, nobody's line touched 70, so that was not a solution for the equation. So a solution for the equation always ends up being an ordered pair. And again, that ordered pair, the meaning, so x, y, the meaning is unique to the situation. For example, in Henry and Emile's race, the x value represented time, 1 minute, 1 second, 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 1 sec and the y value represented distance. Okay? When we talked about students getting pledges to make money, the x value was the distance they walked, and the y value was the money raised. So, as you can see, our solutions to the equations are ordered pairs, and those ordered pairs in each of the story problem settings have different meanings. So what you're going to be doing in this lesson, now that we've covered some of the key concepts, the key terminology, we are going to compare costs. They decide that just like we did that water bottle problem where they decided they wanted to get water bottles to promote the walkathon, this is about the class wants to give t-shirts to all the people that participate. So they get bids from different t-shirt companies, and so the goal is that we have to look at what does each t-shirt company charge me per t-shirt. Do they have one of those, a flat fee or a charge that they have us pay up front for 0 shirts? And so we're going to end up looking at 3 different t-shirt companies and starting to make comparisons of, and to actually apply and use, what does the y-intercept tell me? What does the coefficient tell me? And are certain ordered pairs solutions to different equations? So that is the work that you have coming up for you. Good luck. I hope it goes well.